Hi friends, welcome to IAS and College Connect YouTube channel. In this videos, we are going to discuss about what is constructor. Let's see what is a constructor. Constructor is same as class name, is going to be called at the time of object creations, and the constructor is doesn't going to return any values. Here you see some of the key points of the constructor. It's automatically get called when the object is going to be created. So you may have the doubts in your mind. So why we are using the constructor? So where we are using the constructor in real-time applications. So you want to execute some of the code while the particular object is going to be get created. So at the time you want to execute this particular code means you're going to write this code under the constructor. So this code is going to be get executed when the object is going to be get created. Object is going to be get created at the time this particular code is going to be create executed. So when you write this code under the constructor. Okay, so here, so you see there is a two different types of constructor. One is default constructor, another one is going to be parameterized constructor. So what is a default constructor? While you're writing the Java code, so at the time you're not creating any constructor. So at the time you're not creating any constructor. So Java itself is going to be create on default constructor and it is going to assign some default values for the variables based upon the data types. In case if it is an integer, it is going to be assigned 0 to the particular variable. In case the particular variable type is going to be a string, it is going to be assigned null values. In case if the data type is going to be a float, it is going to be assigned 0.0f. In case if it is the boolean values, the default values for the boolean is going to be false. So the compiler Java itself is going to be create a default constructor in case if you not create a constructor. Another type is going to be what parameterized constructor. So you can create a constructor with the same name as a class name. So here you are going to give the parameterized constructor. In this parameterized constructor, you can pass some values to the variables. Okay, right. So then some important key points about the constructor. Here you see the constructor is not going to return any data type and can be called one constructor from another constructor by using this keyword. We are going to see what is this keyword in later sessions videos. So here you want to one thing you want to make a point that is it cannot be a constructor, it cannot be a final, and it cannot be a static type. Okay, so here we are going to see the implementations of what is a constructor. Let's move to the implementation part. So now you see we are going to see the implementations part of constructor. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new packages. That is package name is com.basics of cons. So package name is com.basic of cons. Under this, I'm going to create a class name called basics of constructor. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable which is called as register number. So, and I'm going to create a variable string student name. So here I'm going to create a variable with boolean data type as is active. Okay. So then I'm going to create one more variable which is under the float data type, float college fees. So now you see, I'm going to print the values of all this variable. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a method print data. Under this, I'm going to create system.out.println. I'm going to print all the values. Under this system.out.println, I'm going to print the register number first. So then I'm going to call the variable name here, register number. Likewise, I'm going to print all the values. So for that, what I'm going to do? sys out. So I'm going to print the student name. So plus student name. Likewise, I'm going to print is active. So now I'm going to call the variable name. That is Boolean variable name, which is active. So that should be followed by I'm going to call the another variable that is college fees. Plus I'm going to call the variable name, which is college fees. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an object under the main method. So here in the main method, I'm going to create an object. As you know, so what is the syntax for creating an object? The syntax for creating object is class name that should be followed by object name equal to new class name. So now we are going to call the method print data by using the object name of this particular class, that is boc dot print data. So now you see we done this program. Here you see we are not creating any constructor. So we created four variables. Under this we are going to have one method. That method is going to print all the variables. That is variables of that. Sorry, it is going to print the values of that particular variable. And we are going to create a main method. Under the main method we are creating one object boc, and then under this object we are going to call the print data method. Now I am going to run this program. So as I already told that Java is going to, in case if you're not providing any constructor, so Java itself is going to provide the default constructor, and it is going to assign some default values for the variables. So here you see we are having the register number is int, so it is going to be hold the 0 as a default values. So for the string the default values is null. So here you see we are not providing any values for the student name, so that it is going to be provide the null values. So is active is a boolean values. So we are not providing any values. So it is going to assign the default values, which is going to be false. And college fees also we are not providing any values. So it's going to assign some default values for this variable. Hope you understand what is the default values. Now we are going to see what is a parameterized constructor. So here we are going to create one more class which is called as a parameterized constructor. Parameterized paramcons. So here in this, I'm going to create two variables. One is int register number. Another one is student name. Right. So now, as I already told that constructor name and class name both are same, right? Okay. So here you see, I'm going to create a constructor. Now you see this block is called as a constructor. This block is going to be get executed at the time of object creations. So whatever the code I'm going to write inside this particular constructor is going to be get executed at the time of object creations. So here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to assign some default values to this variable. So I'm just going to give the register number as 666 and then student name is Vinod Kumar Selvarasan. So now this constructor is going to be called at the time of object creations. So now you see, I'm just going to create one method that is void print data. So under this, I'm just going to print these two variables. That is register number as well as student name. So I'm going to call the variable name which is called as student name. So now you see, I'm just going to create a main method. Under this main method, I'm going to call this constructor. So I'm going to call the constructor. Let's see. So I already told that the constructor is going to be called at the time of object creation. Okay, so here you see, we are going to create a constructor. So here we are going to create an object. So under this object, I'm going to call this method print data. We don't want to externally call this particular constructor. So it is going to be called at the time of object creations. So now what it is going to be happen, it is going to be create a object PZ, and it is going to check is that any constructor is present like this or not. Here you see the same as this structure signature. It is look like the same signature like this, right? Okay, so that is a constructor with no argument. So this particular block is going to be get call, and it is going to assign the values to this particular variable. Here we are assigning register number is 666 and student name is Vinod Kumar Selvarsan. So that should be we are going to call the print data. So it is going to call the print data and it's going to print the values which is present on the particular variable. So now I'm going to run this program, check whether we are getting any values or not. Here you see we are getting this value. Register number is 666 and name is Vinod Kumar Silverson. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you the execution flow of this particular code. So now I'm just going to show you the execution flow of this particular code. So now, as I already told that where the execution is going to start, the execution is going to start from the main method. Here what we are doing, we are going to create an object PZ. So now the PZ is going to hold the copy of whatever the class is holding. The class is holding two variables. One is register number, another one is student name. Register number and student name. These are the two variables which the class is having. So now after that, so what it is going to do, it is going to check is that any constructor will look like this in the program or not. Is that any constructor will look like the same signatures in this program or not? Yes, here you see, we're having the same signature which is having on our class on here. So the call is going to be get initiated. So what the code we written inside the constructor is, we are assigning the register number variable value as 666. So 666 is assigned to this variable, and then we are going to assign student name as Vinod Kumar Silvarasan. Okay, so here we are going to assign the variable name Vinod Kumar Selvarsan to the student's name. After that, it find the closing bracket. So the control will be back to where the call is get initiated. So now you see after that we are going to call pc.printData. It is going to be called the print data method under which object? So under the PC object. So now what we return inside this print data? When this print data method is fine, it is going to call the print data method, right? So it get inside. So under this print data method, what we return? So we didn't return something on the double quotes. That is what we getting on the output is. So whatever the statement we are written, the double quotes is going to be print as it is, and that should be followed by the variable name. Here you see this is the variable name. So it's going to check what the values which is present on this particular variable name. It is 666. So 666 is going to assign to this particular variable. So then we are going to call the next statement, that is the name is. So then it is going to check what the values which the student name is having. Student name variable is holding the values as Vinod Kumar Selvarsan. So it's going to print this value on our console screen. So let's check the output. So whether we are getting the same output or not. Yes. Here you see register number is 666, name is Vinod Kumar Silverson. So we are getting the same output what we are getting on here. Okay. So now you see we saw about default constructor and we saw the constructor with no argument. Now we are going to see the constructor with argument. So for that, what I am going to do, I'm just going to create the same concepts but little changes in this code. That is constructor with or. Okay, so here I'm just going to create two variables. One is in register number, and then another variable which is called as a student name. So now I'm going to create two constructor in the program. One is construct without argument, another one is constructor with argument. So now you see under this constructor without argument, I'm just going to give some default values to this variable. So here the variable name is register number, and then value which I'm going to assign is 666, and then student name is going to be what? Vinod Kumar Silvas. So now I'm just going to create one more constructor with an argument. Okay, so same constructor with or, and inside this I'm just going to create two variables. One is or string for register number, another one is string n for name, student name. Under this I'm just going to register number, I'm just going to assign or to register number, and then student name equal to n, right? Okay, so now I'm going to call the void print data. Here I'm just going to print the values of this both the variable. Register number, which is register number, and then name is plus student name, right? Okay, so now you see I'm just going to create a constructor. Now I'm going to create an object, and we are going to call the particular constructor based upon the argument. Okay, so here I'm going to create an object for this particular class, constructor with or, constructor with or equal to new constructor with or, and then cwa dot print data, and I'm going to call the another constructor, that is constructor with argument. Okay, so for that I'm going to call the same class with a different object name, cwa1 equal to new constructor with or, but little changes in this signature. Here I'm going to pass the values 777, and the name which I'm going to pass is Ashok Kumar Selvarasan. So now I'm going to call C print data method by using the object which is cwa1 dot print data. So now I'm just going to run this program. After that, I'm just going to explain you the complete flow. Now I'm going to run this program. So here you see, we got this output. Now I am going to explain this complete flow of this program. Let's move to the whiteboard. Okay, done. Okay, so here, as I already suggest that the execution is going to be start from the main method. Okay, so here we are going to create object which is called as CWA. So as I already told that the object is going to be holding the copy of whatever the class is holding. The class is holding two variables. One is register number, another one is student name. Register number, another one is student name. Right. Okay, so now it's going to check is that any signature will look like this in the program is there or not. Here you see, we having the signature will look like the same in this program. So that it's going to call this particular constructor. It is going to call the particular constructor. What statement we written inside this? We are assigning the register number is equal to 666, and the name is going to be what? Vinod Kumar Selvarasan. Okay. Now, after that, it's find the closing bracket so that the control will be back to where the call is get initiated. So now we are going to call cwa.print data. Okay, so we are calling the print data method under which object? CWA. So that it is going to call the print data method. So that it is going to call the print data method. So under this print data method, what we return something doubles in the double quotes, right? Okay, so output will be look like this, right? Okay, so register number says register number is 666, and then we given something on the double quotes, right? Name is, so what the name we are having on this student's name? It is Vinod Kumar, right? Vinod Kumar Selvarsan. Okay, right. Okay, so after that, it's find the close bracket. It will be back to where the call is get initiated. Okay, now we are going to create one more object which is called as CWA1. Okay, so that another object is going to be get created. So another object is we are going to call as CWA1. CWA1 object is going to be get created. So this object is going to be hold whatever the class is holding. The class is holding the same register number and student name variables, right? Okay, so it is going to be hold the copy of what the class is having, register number and then student name. Student name, right? Okay, so after that, it's going to check is there any method. Just I'll erase this, the entire lines, to avoid the confusions, right? So now you see we created the object CWN, and then it's going to hold the what the class is holding is having two variables. One is register number, another one is name, right? Okay, so and it's going to check is that any constructor will look like this in the program or not. That is constructor with the two argument. One is going to be what? Integer, that is numbers. Another one is what? String, that is we are given something on the double quotes. This is a string. So it's going to check is that any constructor with two argument. One is going to be what? First one is going to be integer, second one is what? Going to be a string. So is that any constructor will look like this in the program, say in this with the same signature? Yes, here you see we are having the constructor with two argument. The first one is what? Integer. Yes, it's matching. And then second one is what? String. And this also get matching, so that the call is get initiated. And then R value, what the R value will be? What R value will be? 777. And then N value will be what? Ashok Kumar Selvarsan. The second argument is assigned to the second argument in this particular constructor. Okay, so Ashok Kumar Selvarsan, right? Okay, so now R is holding 777, N is holding Ashok Kumar Selvarsan. So now this R is assigned to the class variable, that is register number. Okay, so now the R value will be what? 777, that is assigned to the register number. So the register number is going to be what? 777, and the name is going to be what? Ashok Kumar Selvarsan, that is assigned to student name. We are initiating this call from CW1. Under the CW1 student name, it is going to be assigned Ashok Kumar Selvarsan. Done. Okay, so once we done this, so once it find the closing bracket, the call is back to where the call is get initiated. The call is initiated from here, right? So it's done. Okay, so then moving to the next statement, CW1 dot print data. So now it is going to check where the CW1 dot print data. Okay, so now the CW1 dot print data is present on this particular class on here. So now we are initiating this print data from which class? So from which object? CWA1. Okay, so that it is going to call the print data method. The what of the statement which is given on the double quotes is going to be print as it is. Register number is what the values we are having on the register number. Under which object we are calling? CWA1. Under the CWA1, what is the register number values we are having? 777. So then we are going to call name is. So name is, so what we are having on the student's name? The student's name is going to be what? Ashok Kumar Silverson. So now we are getting the output. The first one it is going to be print 666 and Vinod Kumar, and the second one is going to print 777 and Ashok Kumar Silverson. So let's check in the console screen. Yes, here you see in the console screen we are getting 666 and Vinod Kumar Silverson and 777 and Ashok Kumar Silverson. Hope you understand this. What is constructor? What is default constructor? What is constructor without argument? What is a constructor with argument? Okay, so hope you understand these concepts. In case if you like these videos, please share these videos with your friends, and please don't forget to click the subscribe and bell button. Thank you.